Since I actually saw some of the guys, some of the stuff you guys were doing, and I can really tell you it's very, very nice. Very, very nice. Most of the point I actually saw that, the big faulty is what she just pointed out. But just to do some corrections, is it possible to have in one place? Yes, sure. Great. So please, pardon me and try to move my speed as well. First of all, I noticed that the first picture I actually saw was two people starting from enjoying. Who were the two people that actually started as the presenter of the program, right? A boy and a girl. And in TV or in movie, you must have chief anchor person. And that is, if both of us have to sit there and talk, if I need to talk with her, I'm meant to be the chief anchor person. That means I'll be the one to introduce what the program is. For example, let's assume that the name of this program is called Good Morning America. First of all, I'll say, so the camera comes on me. I say, you're welcome to Good Morning America. My name is Michael Ofuonye. And with me is, well, I discovered that two persons were talking at the same time. That's the problem. And the next thing, I saw a picture of a guy walking to a shop or something, trying to correct a battery, a faulty battery, and stuff like that, right? I think you guys saw that. I mean, it's from you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw somebody moving, and they said, I'm taking the battery to go fix up the battery and stuff like that. Right?
The IT.
Oh, yes, the IT thing. Good. In movie, if you give a blind spot, it's either you're trying to hide who the person is, that is in film. You're trying to make a movie. So you can't really try to make a movie. You're just trying to either show a documentary or something. I never saw the face of this guy. And I'm sure he's a good looking guy, if you ask me. But there was no point the face actually came up. So it's a problem, not possible. And the best way is if we have to do a proper movie, the minimum of cameras we must use is 2 cameras. But at this point, you guys are actually using 1 camera. Fine. We can cheat. And how do you cheat? Now I'm checking this to her, and I'm going. You could say, stop. I'm taking the back shot. And the guy could come on the reverse shot and still move along while he walks towards the camera. Now you could see his face. Because it's possible that he had a reaction. Am I saying something to you guys? Are you guys following what I'm saying? Yeah. He must have a reaction. Either he's angry, that the phone, or whatever he's taking is faulty. And that's what the people back at home see. There wasn't a reaction shot from the guy. He was just moving. I was just seeing somebody following from behind. And the guy was talking. I was wondering, who is he talking to? But if his visuals, if the face is actually being seen while he's going with that, it makes more sense to everybody back at home. So that's the point that needs to be corrected. So the next time you make a movie, you must, it's either you have 2 cameras, but if you can't get 2 cameras, you can do with 1 camera. And that means the first few steps, and you can say, okay, hang on, John. And you turn around and say, okay, come along. And she actually made mention of something that is very important, and that's the tripod. It is very important. And you can have the mono tripod. The mono tripod, you can use the camera and it goes like this. If you can get the Steadicam tripod. You have it on your shoulder. So it's easy for you to move. Right? Great. And finally, when the guy got to where we were supposed to fix up, we could see the face of the guy he was talking to. That's good. We could see the face of the guy I was talking to. But still, the face of the guy that was giving the computer or battery or something was giving up to somebody.
Right.
It was you. Oh, great. You have a good face. I wonder why I wasn't showing your face. Well, again, the look is perfect. They were actually giving out something to somebody, but the guy was not visible. And I said, is this a horror movie or something? The kind of kid suspense, you know. And so finally, by the time he gave out the stuff, he walked away. And so what you have done is take a note. Try to reflect back to any of the movies you've seen. For example, that's you, sorry if you don't mind. And that's the guy you're talking to. The camera guy should have been here. Try to reflect back all the movies we've seen. We call it an OX, off-shoulder shot. And that means if I need to talk to him, I need to get this guy a background. For example, he's the one talking to me, right? Okay, let me do it much easier. You're talking to me. The cameraman is going to be behind me. And he's going to get you talking. Right? Then later going to say, hang on. And that's why it is very important that you have a script. So, for example, you say, what's the problem? That's the script that he has that he's playing to. What's the problem? I go around from this corner. Now I can see your face. I could see your face because I'm coming behind. And I thought they keep him in with the word. And instead of repeating the same word, what's the problem? If you take notes, initially, while he was talking, I was behind him and I said, say something. And he said, what's the problem? I said, stop. And I go behind and I say, say it again. He says, what's the problem? Then I respond. When the guy is responding, I am getting his reaction shot. And so during the dating, you have two people talking. That's where the editor comes in. And the first is, what's the problem? I'll see his face, and when I'm behind, the problem is so you get both parties. And now, just like the eye, I mean, when I came in, you guys started looking at me from, I mean, when you came. So, does the camera work the same way? Now you go back and get an establishment shot. That is, you have the two people in picture. Am I making sense to you? Yeah. If you reflect back when you watch interviews of Christian Malcolm and CNN and the rest, and you have Obama, and Christian Malcolm. First of all, you see Christian Malcolm's face. You see Obama's face. You see the cameraman from here taking her reaction to some of the words Obama is saying. At the point in time, you see both of them in the picture. So that's the first step you must take. But seriously, like I said, you guys will perfectly well. But if you can do this, if you can add this to whatever you're doing, then you guys will go places. Okay. So that's the first thing. That's a very good one. I really appreciate you guys. And now let's go back to the guys that were actually doing the new stuff, right? Mm. I noticed, I don't know if you guys do chroma key here. Do chroma key? Yeah. You get chroma key, right? Great. I saw the background, and it could have been better. Yeah. It could have been better. Yeah. It could have been better.
Our software is not very powerful, so it's hard to eliminate all this.
Oh, great. So if you have chroma key, and you guys are great, let's just assume that it's Good Morning America, right? Should have had that in the background. Great. And the first person and the second person. You know, some principles you must know if you're going to present as a presenter. And it's very simple. First of all, you must identify the station. To say, let's say, for example, if it's CNN, you must say it's CNN. So if my mom back at home is watching, she understands that she's hooked up to CNN. So you must identify the station. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning America. My name is Michael Ofuonye, and with me is Leslie. And Leslie also introduced. And then she kicks off. First of all, you must smile. It's very important. You must smile. Two, you must have skeletal guide notes. For example, when we talk about what happened in Ali, you should do your research to know know what the current situation is. It's very important. So you must have the guy know. 3, you must know pronunciation. If it's an African name, I mean, there's so many names you could actually pronounce in America, like a bit difficult. It's not my fault, excuse me. If it's an African name, you must get somebody to actually assist you to know how it's pronounced. Because you're talking about the elite society, the people back home. And they're going to quote you to say, if I'm happy to say it's called, like my last name is Ofuonye. Now it's called Ofuonye. That's not my name. Am I making sense to you? So you actually need to get somebody to actually assist you to know how it's pronounced. That is one. Then the other part is you must use simple, common English. I think I take note that every of the words used in CNN, even the 3-year-old baby can understand what it's saying, right? So you must use simple words. Not going to use ambiguous meaning words to show that, oh, I'm very good in using such words. It doesn't work that way. And that's great. And you must try and avoid, did you actually, if you guys actually saw the Paris stuff, they try to take away some ugly things because of beyond discretion. Because not everything that I can actually see, that she can actually want to see. And so sometimes you must also speak beyond discretion when you do that. So I think one of the problems, or one of the things was the 2 people were talking at the same time. They were not, you guys were not actually guided on what to say at what point in time. But if you can put all this I have said into practice, I am very, very sure you'll make a perfect presentation. It's very important. You know, because it's good, as if both of them were kind of challenging each other, who's going to go first, who's going to do this, who's going to do that, and that's what you do. Okay, let's take you. Can I get something?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You can come look at our equipment too.
Oh, sure.
Later, because we're going to try to film today.
Okay. Then I'll take you guys to something that I do back. I direct a program that's called Good Morning Army. I direct a program that's called Good Morning. Good evening, Army. Good Morning Abia is a talk show. And this is my set. I have a presenter. I have a guest. 2 guests. So, okay, let us assume this is my presenter, so this is much easier. Now, first of all, my camera is going to come on just my presenter. So this is my camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. So now this is the perfect way for you to do a talk show. The ideal camera for you to use is 3 cameras. And I'll tell you why. Can you tell me why you think we should have 3 cameras? Let's use different angles. Great. So first of all, when I open up with my camera 2, I'm going to my presenter. And it's going to say, you're welcome to Good Morning Abia. My name is Michael Ofuonye. So this program for this to be exciting, informative, and educating. And today we're discussing cancer. And to discuss cancer with me is Dr. Susie. You might have to do a little background. Dr. Susie is of blah, 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 blah hospital. And also, Dr. John. Dr. John is this. Gentlemen, the funny thing about the press, about media, even the men and the women are addressed as gentlemen. Gentlemen are welcome. And both of them respond. Now, if she's talking, this camera goes to her. He's talking, this camera goes to him. Now, because while he's talking, it's possible she has a reaction by her look or something. It's either she's agreeing to what he's saying, say, oh, cancer can be detected, and she's saying, yeah, I can hear you. And so you come on wild shot. And that's why I was talking about the wild shot. If you connect back and say, when the two persons are talking, you still go back. So you have the two people in picture. So this is your wild shot, which is very important. And so whoever is directing should put this into consideration. You have to put this into consideration. But if by circumstances we don't have a big camera, we can't say let's come up to show. Sorry, the other camera is not working. It's not possible. We can't. But we're going to have challenges. So we're going to have two cameras to go on the program. And this camera one is going to go on my presenter, which is very important. Then this is going to go on my case. If I need to actually get this, I will have to change my seating position. I cannot have my presenter and my two guests. So one of my camera goes for my presenter, while the other camera goes to my two guests. And so if my presenter says Dr. Susie, it goes there, right, to show who she is. And it says my other guest is Dr. John. Immediately, this camera is going back to her to make the introduction of the next person. The guy on the camera will quickly pan to this. Is it clear? You can follow what I'm saying. So now this is the first camera. It's going straight to her, right? And now it's going back for her to introduce this other guy. My camera, this camera will pan back to him. And now immediately it pans back to him. When my guest is saying, okay, Mom, please look at the first person to answer the question. This my cameraman, but this guy must be very fast. The guy handling the camera must be very fast. And I also noticed that there's something I think we all should learn. Back in Nigeria, because I think getting some of this equipment is quite expensive, you need to get a dolly. I'm sure you guys know what a dolly is. A dolly and a tracker. And we were not back in things, so they said, okay, you cannot afford it. Then you can't wait to go out. This is somebody that has a wheelchair. And you put it, you see, it's actually great. I'm telling you, I think these kind of producers use wheelchairs. You will have a look. And you will have a cameraman on a wheelchair. And you can don't have dolly, you have dolly or truck. And so it's it. But you can achieve it. So you could make a cameraman on a wheelchair. And as he approaches, the cameraman is really cool. You will see the flow. You will never notice I was actually done on a wheelchair. You will think, they did a track, they did a track. But what's a track? So that's another way to actually achieve. It's very important that things that you can always improvise because you can't get it at that point in time. So as we progress, I'll continue to achieve one or two sides of that stuff. But my final advice is if you're making a movie, or if you're going to do a program, you have to lay down for certain things. And one of those things I've told you. You're going to be chief anchor person. What are we talking about? Can you split the question? And sometimes, if I ask you a question, in your response, I'll definitely get another question to ask you. So for example, if you have all your questions listed, like you have 10 questions, and what's the next, sorry?
No.
Now you're going to ask 5 questions, and I'm going to ask 5 questions. And then we start, no, we're meeting, sir, And he said, okay, I'm this and that. In his response, there might be a question. So sometimes it mustn't be you're going to ask all the questions the way it is written. Am I making sense to you? Am I communicating? Right. So sometimes it is not just answering all the questions by the book. The book is just to guide you. It's just to guide you to say, okay, you need to ask this. And sometimes you meet people that are very extremely brilliant. The question is, so can you just tell us about cancer? That should be your first question. How can cancer be detected at an early stage? Why answering, can you just tell us about cancer? He goes about telling you how you can be detected, what cancer is, and before you know it, in one question, he has given all the answers to what you have. And so he gets you to ask. And so sometimes such people, you try to break them. So just people know what cancer is. Oh, cancer is this and this and this. It could be, oh, don't worry, sir, we'll come to that part. Because he tries to outsmart you. He tries to make you run out of questions. So by the time he leads to get into your second question, just hang on, sir. We'll come to that. We'll come to that part. When you do it in a very friendly manner, you smile. I mean, when I walk with you, she's smiling. And so that kind of, okay, I'm protected, I'm dead, okay. Because you detect what happens, the anchor person, the two presenters. If I bring Obama to sit down here, and I say, what's the name?
Right.
What?
Right.
I can't pronounce that.
Right.
Francis. Okay, great. And I say, Francis, please, can you talk to Obama? And I say, yeah, sir, can you tell us what your policy about education is? And okay, my policies are these, and he tried to go, oh, just hang on, sir, we're coming to that. You're able to checkmate him because you are the president at the moment. You dictate and you say what you want him to say. And so it's very important. It's very important. But I'm going to ask you guys to do a little assignment. I'm fortunate I'll be looking very soon. I became some documentaries, no? I think some documentaries.
Not documented.
Okay.
But he has on his own time.
Are you guys allowed to do documentaries as well?
Okay.
Great. I'd like to get into documentary. Oh, it's very interesting. I started with doing documentary like some other stuff on film school because it wasn't about Nigerian film school. When you get to your final, you need to do movie, you need to do documentary. And so documentary is also part of me. If you want to do a documentary, it's very interesting. Look for a story. And okay, you can take a documentary from the school here when it was founded, the first few members, one of the oldest teachers around and stuff like that. If you guys can do that. But like I said, and there's something she actually pointed out that was very important. And I said, that's great. That's great. That means she actually saw some of those points that I actually figured out. And the first is your shots. This is a medium shot. But I saw you guys were, wow. that doesn't seem safe. So we're going to have a long shot, a medium shot. And normally you could have a close-up. Yep. I'm going to film you. I'm not a cinematographer, I'm just a director, so please don't get me wrong. But I can work with any cinematographer, but I dictate on what I want. And I want to get in. I'm going to start from a long shot, the way you see them. And I'm going to come to a medium shot. And when you talk, I might have to show you close up, which is very important. Because I also noticed, sorry, I'm taking you guys from the documentary, I'm going to come back to that. I also noticed that when the guy was saying, okay, I needed to fix this, it was not on a long shot. I have this export marker. If I'm going to do something, like if I'm giving this to you, as I give to you, help the cameraman take it. Then I'm going to hang it on, and I will come and I'll zoom in so you get to see the Expo marker. But I just want the guy just very easy to fix it. And just, it could be anything. It could be anything. So you must establish. You must establish what you're putting out. It's very important. That's why you see in the movie sometimes when you go on TV, the kind of voice close up, at least to know if it's a magnum or an 80 or 7 and stuff like that. So it's very important. So let's go back to the documentary, which I think is also very important. If you're doing a documentary, first of all, you must have what the story is. You must have a story. Next example, we're doing a story of the school here. When it was founded, who are the founding members. Then you might also need to talk to some people, some students, I don't know how long this was existing, but let's assume it's going to be for 7 years. You might have to talk to some few people, and you must start the story with the school. You must establish the school, and it's called an establishment shot. So by the time anybody comes in, you understand, oh, this is new, it's something. Then you progress to talk about the school. I like my voiceover to come before my pictures. I do that. That's why every director has his own style. What works for me might not work for you. But you must create a niche for yourself. And that's why sometimes when I see some of my colleagues from film school, I see their work out somewhere, I say, hey, that belongs to Yinka Edwards, because I know the way he starts off his production. So you might have to, create something that if he sees it tomorrow, you say, hey, it's coming from him. I know that's his way. That's the way he normally comes up with. And so when I like my voiceover, I could just start off with, for example, if this is the school. This is the school. I could start off taking up the sky and saying, it's the documentary about the work. It's made of school. Then the next thing, I'll now pan to the school. So that's the first picture that you're going to see. Then if there are landmarks, I'm very sure if I need to do a documentary and without establishing this school, and I show some landmarks around, you'll say, hey, that's our school, right? It's very important. So you need to get some landmarks to show, minus this school, there's certain things around that could actually pinpoint back to the school to say this is my school. And after that, you could not talk to individuals. Because I heard talking about, it was not the same places, the same people. You could not talk about individuals, my name, when the school year, what I think about the school, the things, how to go forward, what I don't like about the school and stuff like that. You can now have that. And now, if I need to get her to reenact, if I need to get her, there's something that's called a B-roll. Have anybody heard about what a B-roll is? A B-roll, you can just check it out. A B-roll is the true life. I mean, this is the way she does every time she does a speech. She comes in, hello guys, and she sits down, she does her stuff. And so, you might have to get a B-roll to show the way lectures are taken. And you're trying to reenact it in the real form. People reenact something without the real form. I mean, you just try to make it look like what it used to be. That's the reenactment. I'm sure you guys like that was meant for you guys here. But in this case, we're doing a B-roll. That means you see her come in, open the door, we all sit down, you have the cameraman get in and she does her thing. That will make a very good documentary when you have your B-roll shot. And when you prove that, you can now get, if possible, the headman of the school to talk about the security. conspiracy and stuff like that. Then you can end up your movie, your documentary. So I'll leave you with this. If you can read the documentary, it would be nice. I could read my email, send me some stuff you've done. And how I really like the documentary. Thank you very much, ma'am. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.